All right, I think we're live. I think we are live. Let me know if you can hear me. It's been a while since I did this. The internet has been kind of wonky in my area. So just to let you guys know, we are super busy at the moment. Not just YouTube related. I'll get to that in a bit. There's a lot of things behind the scenes. A lot of pieces are moving. A lot of pieces need to be glued down. So if you're here tonight, really appreciate it. I know it's been what two, possibly 3 weeks since we did the whole live thing. So if you're here tonight, give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. So we got David been smashing it on the bats. Who been smashing on the bats? David. Everybody's been smashing on the bats. Let's see. Hello, bites by Amy. Oh yeah, that's my sister. Go click on her thing and go subscribe to her. She's a subscription. She does a lot of cool like cooking videos, like really short cooking videos, which is I guess is a thing of the modern day. You know, we're old school, so we do a lot of things the long route, but all the new cats are doing short videos. All right, so we got 10 people on right now, and 7:32. I am 1 minute late, so usually I'm like 10 minutes early. We could talk about stuff, so we're gonna once again introduce that kind of maybe 5 minute talk about whatever you guys want, and then we're gonna go into bass fishing, primarily what happened the last tournament we went to, the last two trips out, where the bass currently are, where they're currently doing, what we're using, what we're doing, new technologies that we are employing this year, make it live, kind of give you a little bit insight on that, and white bass fishing, striper fishing, hybrid fishing, and mushroom hunting. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. I'm trying to keep it to an hour 30 because I got a bunch of stuff we got to go do. And where is my stuff? Tell me, guys, I am not organized to the as organized as I used to be, but I'll just kind of go off of what I can remember. And I just want to say thanks for everyone who's chiming in. 12 guys now, and we got to give away some of these stickers. So let me know if you want one, or I'll send it to you. Private message us, and I'll send them out. This is some of the older stickers that we had a while back. You know, CNR stripers. And just to let you guys know, we are doing pretty good. Some guys have been asking how is the clear umbrella rig doing? Clear umbrella rig has been way better than what we forecast or what we expected. We dropped 5 batches, and we are sold out on 5 batches. We're on our sixth batch right now, and we haven't been really promoting the sixth batch very often. So we do still have some of those left. So if you're interested in the clear rig, message us tonight. And if you purchase within the next 24 hours, we're giving away 15% off the rig, your entire order, 15%. But you must mention that you watched the live show tonight, live show on April 12th, and we'll give you 15% off. The clear rig, for the guys that don't know, is basically our umbrella rig, and we've been smashing them on it basically. We've sent them all over the place. We've sent them locally. We've sent them Tennessee River. We sent them to Florida. We sent them to South Carolina, North Carolina. A bunch going up north to all the Minnesota guys. Thanks for support, guys. A bunch going to California and everywhere else in between. So overwhelmed. And I just want to say thanks to all that on behalf of the team here. Really enjoyed building them. Really enjoyed the positive feedback as well. In terms of positive feedback, I'll give you guys one little story on the clear rig versus what's available out there. Some people call it the umbrella rig. Some people call it the A rig. We keep calling it kind of both. So one little story before we get started on the clear rig, just to kind of kick things off, is I wouldn't like, I call him my neighbor, but I'm not going to give you his name. But he fishes tournaments a lot, and the story was he saw one of our posts on Facebook about how our rig runs underwater, and he's like, I'll give it a try. So he buys two, and he goes out the next day, and it's him and his buddy in a boat. They're practicing for a bass tournament, right? And he's in the back of the boat, I guess he's fishing out his buddy's boat, so he's in the back. His buddy's in the front. They got the Panoptics, or the live scope or whatever Lorenz has. They're using that. They can see the fish. They're casting to the fish, right? And he's out catching his buddy using our rig, same bait supposedly. The thing is, our rig is clear, and then the other one is just a traditional like metal wire rig. So he's out catching his buddy, like he's his words 14-2, and his buddy's just like, that thing is so expensive, it'll never work, yada yada. This thing works just fine. My metal rig is just fine. So they get to a point in the day where he's caught 14 to his buddy's 2, and his buddy goes, "Hey, there's a big fish over here. It won't bite my traditional rig, right?" So he goes, "Come over here, throw that stupid thing at it." So he comes out to the front deck. He first casts on this big blob of fish on your live forward facing sonar, and it smokes it. He pulls in the boat. It's a 5 pounder, okay. And then his front boater guy was like, "All right, that's it. I'm sold." So it's a pretty cool story. Just kind of feedback from some of the guys. We got a lot of good feedback from California. One of our cousins out in Fresno bought 2 or 3 rigs, and he caught a personal best striper on it. So congratulations to him. That's a pretty good story that we'd like to share. There's a couple other guys just randomly everywhere, catching white bass. Oh yeah, uh, my uncle, he's one of my neighbors. He was very skeptical at first. Let's just say at least very skeptical. He's all about the gay blade. You guys know the gay blade. All about the gay blade and all about like a Rapala jerkbait, right? It's his favorite. So for his birthday, we gifted him 2, right? And he goes out, he smashes them like day one, smashes them straight slaughter, and then he's like, "Sucker is pretty good." So he comes back and he goes, "We gotta go do that again." So we go out, and he only catches 2 the next day. Right? So I'm like I was telling him, this doesn't always work, but when it is nothing else can compare. So he goes, "Okay, all right, I'm still a believer." So then he goes out to a local area, it's called low water, right? He goes out to low water, and instead of the big rig, he goes to like the standard rig, and he puts a whole bunch of like these cream lures. It's a little swim bait basically. He goes out there and he just smashes hybrids, smashes white bass, catches like 40, 50 fish that day. And the other guys want, this is not just any other guy, 47 was on the boat, and 47 catches 1 fish, and the other guy catches like 4 compared to his 20 to 30. So he did pretty good with it. He's now a believer. So and they do another trip, and same thing happens. Avery just smashes everything. Nothing else compares. But like I said, that was just the day that was set up for the A-rig, I guess, or when the fish is real picky. The A-rig really puts out. Okay, so if you guys want one of those, let me know. Message us either through email on. You can email us at outofworkoutdoors@gmail.com for pricing, or you can message us through Instagram, our Instagram, Facebook, or you get Instagram or Facebook. You just message us and we'll get you prices. We'll get you availabilities. Right now, the XL size is done. Like the XL is the one that's designed for that 4 to 5 inch swim baits. Okay, that one's sold out. That one's a very popular one. Sold out. People bought standard ones and they exchanged for the XLs, and it's sold out. I don't even have one for myself right now. Well, actually, I do. Actually, I still do one for myself, and that's it. We still got quite a bit of the standard ones. The standard ones are great for those large mouths. They're great for white bass. They're great for all the fish that are say less than 20 inches. It's great for that. And when you're throwing the smaller baits, the 2.8 Kitex to the 3.5 inch like swim bait, it's great for that. And of course, you want to throw it on a lighter weight, and you want to throw it on a fluorocarbon line. And yeah, so that's the little plug we got to do in the beginning. And 10 minutes in, let's see what questions we got. We got David says I'll take one for my truck. Okay, elaborate on that. I mean, buy one and put it in the truck for the whole year. What's going on with that? Yep. I lost track of time. Yeah, everybody loses track of time right now. I was just talking to my dad about like what we're doing. So what we're doing is right now we're still setting up different companies. We're trying to open up a more company in a sense. So just to kind of give you guys what's going on in the background and everything. I know there's a lot of videos been coming out, but we're forming two different companies. So there's the out of work company, which is just YouTube and hanging out with you guys right here, and then currently out of work is selling lures, right? But after discussing it with the other guys, 47 and Hybrid Killer, 47's real name is Sai. If you guys want to know, my real name is Kong, and Hybrid Killer, his real name is Hua. After talking to the boys, oh yeah, stickers. Okay, David, just email me outofworkoutdoors@gmail.com with your address, and I'll ship it out to you. It shouldn't be a problem. I think I have this many. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll give away 5. I want to keep one for myself, but I'll give away 5. And no cost, no cost to you guys. I just basically put it in an envelope and I just ship it out. 39 cents, 42 cents for postage. Don't worry about it. Yeah. So, anyways, we were talking about like how we're gonna handle all this potential business and what we want to do, and it is just time for us to build our own lures and things like that. So, we're coming up with a new company name. Company name is going to be Tornadic Innovations, and I've already registered the website. The website is not up yet, but that's where it's gonna be. It's called Tornadic Innovations. The clear rig will be sold under that. And for the guys that have seen the clear rig and they feel like it's very unique and they're saying, you should probably patent this. And we are working on a patent. Okay, we're in the beginning stages of a patent. So a lot of guys have been saying that's a very unique idea. You need a patent. You need a patent. So that's actually what we're gonna be doing. Yep. So two companies. Just pay attention. There's Out of Work, which is still this, hanging out with you guys, doing cool videos, talking about how to catch fish, lure reviews, all these other things, right? And then there's Tornadic Innovation, which clear rig, loaded top waters, safety pins for your power poles. Those are just three of the many ideas that will be rolled out throughout the year. So keep an eye on that. Well, I'm sure we're going to be talking about it. I'm sure you guys will see it definitely in our videos and things like that. There's a lot of little things that need to be done. All right. So now that you guys know about the company side of things, I hope that didn't confuse anybody. And we will continue to pretty much do our best, do the best that we can here on Out of Work. Uh, Continue to bring you that real honest, no sugar coating, no crazy editing, reality TV type of feel. Okay, so David says, "What you been catching bass on? I've been catching it on KVD finesse worms in PB&J. All right, that's a very very good worm to be using, right? But let's talk about the last 3 tournaments we went on, and I will have to release some of the footage on this, okay? Because I don't have it edited yet. But if you guys want to see it real bad, I'll upload it hopefully by the end of this week or probably mid next week. But okay, bass fishing. Let's start with bass fishing, and then we'll go to like white bass, dam fishing, right? Because there's too many of you guys, and yeah, you guys have the best questions. Okay, so you guys are definitely picking my brain. But let's start with the tournaments, right? Tournaments in March, late March, we fished Skytook, right? We fished Skytook. Hua came in third place. I think it was third place. Yeah, third place. He caught 4 fish. He got third place. Just gonna say, I kind of dropped the ball on that one. I expected myself to do a lot better than that, but that's kind of fishing. I went in thinking that they were going to be on a jerkbait bite. Jerkbait bite did not produce that day. It just straight up left me hanging that day. So I threw a jerkbait for, I don't even know, like maybe 4 hours. You could say a total of 4 hours. Threw a jerkbait for a long time. jerkbait left me hanging, man, because as soon as I switched to like a swim bait, I caught two fish. And I didn't really switch to a swim bait until panic mode sets in. Panic mode doesn't set in until about one, right? So around one, I tried everything I could. I fished deep water, I fished main lake, I fished all the points that was within like a quarter mile of me. I dropped on them in 30, 40 feet. They wouldn't bite. I went shallow, couldn't find them. I went to the bedding areas. I couldn't find them. Like, I couldn't find the active fish. I couldn't find them. I just couldn't find them. I couldn't even get a clue to get my day started until like one. And around one, I was fishing the wind blown area, right? And I throw a little swim bait, a little Kitech 3-3. And I threw it right next to this like stump with this rock with a major drop off on the end, and that little swim bait never hit the ground. And I pull out I think it was only like a 14 and a half inch largemouth. Yeah. And then next cast, I catch a 13 and a half. So I'm like, all right, I'm doing good. I still got like, 2 hours to catch three more. And then I don't catch another one for the rest of the day. So I come with two. I finish in like 25th place, something like that. But I had a bad day, right? I had a bad day. On the flip side, if you guys know us, my fishing style and Hybrid's fishing style are completely different, right? Complete 180 from each other. But that's a good thing because if I know I'm struggling, then he's probably killing it. If he's struggling, then he knows I'm probably killing it. If we're both doing good or both doing bad, then it's not good. It's just not good because everybody's smashing them. It's not good. So, anyways, that day I was struggling and Hybrid was doing good. He lost the fish that could have won the tournament. Okay, so that's how close he was. That's how close he was. So he had the fish on and it just came off. He never saw it. So he felt it. He's like, it's pretty good size. All right, so bass fishing. If you're doing bass fishing right now, you're looking at the last point to the last cove where they're at. So they should either be pre-spawn, spawning, or post-spawn. The fish should be in all three stages right now. The tournament in SkyTech, they were really like super late winter pattern. That's the only thing I can figure out. Other than that, they just weren't even pre-spawn. Okay, and then 2 weeks ago, we went out to one of our favorite little lakes. And we got out there, they were already spawning. Okay, we went south. We drove like an hour and a half south. And we got there, they were already spawning. Major cold front hits. They all pull offshore. The only fish that were still there were the fish that were already like on beds, defending beds. Because when I got there, Hybrid was telling me there ain't no way they're on beds. And I'm like, I'm here to catch bedding fish. So that's what I'm going to do. I go straight to the areas where I've seen them bedding before, and I get there. I didn't even get there yet, and I've already seen like this isn't 2 foot of water, by the way. So I get there, and I'm already seeing like bass chasing bluegills left and right. I throw a buzzbait out there, nothing. I throw a frog out there, nothing. I throw a big walking bait out there, nothing. I throw a big swim bait, nothing, and I threw something else. Oh, I threw a Cinco. Yeah, threw a Cinco, nothing. So I'm thinking, what the heck, man? They always bite the Cinco. If they don't want to bite the Cinco, something's wrong, right? So I'm on the walkie-talkie. I'm talking to Hybrid. I'm like, hey, get over here, dude. Like, there's a bunch of fish over here. I can't figure out a way to catch them. I just cannot. I know there's like at least 50 around me. I can see them. I can almost count them, okay? So anyways, Hybrid, he slowly comes out. And by the time he gets there, the sun's already up a little bit. So then, like I said, he and I fish completely opposite techniques. So if I've tried everything I know, if it's not working, then I just basically sit around and have him figure it out. Because between the two of us, one of us is going to figure it out. And we'll just tell each other, right? So he comes over. And for the guys that know pre-spawn fishing or spawning fish, it is very, very, very tricky to figure out what they want that day. What they want that day, that hour. Okay, so I tried everything I could. I could not get him to fire, right? I could not get him to go. I know there's fish there. The water is clear/dingy. The wind is blowing like 20 miles per hour. Okay, so the fish can't really see you. You can't see the fish either. But they're there. Like, they're chasing fish. You can see them. So I'm throwing a buzz bait in the morning, and I get fish tailing the buzz bait, but they won't hit it. They'll kind of just nudge it out of the way. Right? So Hybrid comes along. He goes, hey, you got one of them horny toads? I'm like, yeah, I got a whole pack of horny toads. So I give him like 2, and I leave one for myself. And he goes, and this is the crazy part, because unless if this is the reason why I like fishing, right? Because fishing is never scripted. You always go in thinking they should be doing one thing, and then it's a complete 180. It is completely different from what you expect it to happen that day. So, if you were going to ask me what were my favorite spawning baits, the horny toad is not even on my top 10. Not even on it, right? But that day, I brought some horny toads so I could put it on the back of my buzzbait because that's how I caught them the year before. Okay, so I threw a buzzbait with a horny toad. They didn't want it. They didn't want that clack 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 sound. You know, they usually want a clack 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 sound. So I get out there. I fire this buzzbait out there. I don't get anything. Hybrid comes in after me. He fires this 22. And I kid you not, the way they wanted it was they wanted skipping across the water. The water temp was 65 degrees, which is weird. It shouldn't be that high, but in that area, it was that high, okay? And due to the cold front, half of them pulled off, but some were still around, and they were chasing and guarding the beds against bluegills. And he threw this white, it's pure white, horny toad. He throws it as far as he can go. And the guys that know bait casters, you guys understand how fast an 8-to-1 gear ratio is. And he's burning an 8-to-1, okay? And I'm going slow. I can't get it. So he walk easy mode. I got it. I figured it out. I'm like, what is it? He goes, you got to burn a horny toad. And I'm over here, I'm about 100 yards away. And I'm thinking, what you mean burn a horny toad? And he goes, just watch. So I turn around. I'm just watching. Like, okay. Let me just walk. Well, not 100 yards, more like 50 yards away. So you can still see him like cats. You can see the white lure go out. And you can also see him, you can see the splash when the fish takes the bait, and you can see him hook, and you can see him fighting, and you can see him like boat flip the fish, right? So I'm just watching them. Like I'm like, dang, is it really going to be that today? Because that's not supposed to happen. And that's one of the reasons why we love fishing. You know, you go out and you're like, I'm expected to come out here, see a fish on a bed, catch it, and call it a day. You get out there, you don't see a fish on a bed, and you're like, oh man, what the heck is going on? My day's ruined. But then something else gets reintroduced that you did not expect, and your day ends up being better than you expected. It's like you're happy, you're very excited, but it's a different type of excitement. So that day we go on, I don't even know, we probably caught like 30 bass that day. It was a good day. I caught one on a Cinco. One. And I was expecting to catch like 20 on Cinco. Turns out they wanted a frog burning super fast. So it's a reaction bite. I'm usually pretty good with reaction bites. So for the guys that are watching that are bass fishing peoples, yeah, I sound like I'm crazy right now, but I kid you not. That's what was happening. So then I didn't have any horny toads, right? So I rigged up a swim jig, and I just basically put on a Kitech, a 3.8 Kitech, white. I throw it out there. I bomb it and you got 20-mile-per-hour winds behind you, right? And you just bomb it as far as you can go. And you bomb it out there, and then as soon as it falls, as soon as it touches the water, you click it, and you just burn it as fast as you can once again. As fast as you can once again. And it gets smashed, basically. So I was fishing in there, couldn't get them, but the boat hasn't moved, or the kayak hasn't moved. You do that, and you catch like 4 or 5 in a row, and you're just like, oh my gosh, this is so crazy. This is so crazy. When you figure that bite out, it's so crazy. But we didn't catch any big ones that day. The biggest one we both caught was like 19 and 3/4 inch fish. So caught a whole bunch of 18s, 19s, but we're fishing for an online tournament, and those little fishes will not, and I repeat, will not get you paid. So even though it's fun, you know, you're not getting into the money with that. It's just how it is, you know, just how it is. Let me see what's wrong with the camera. It's like it's all acting wonky on me. Flip the switch. Maybe it'll help. Maybe it won't. I don't know. Doesn't seem like it is though. Yeah, it's acting weird. Anyways. Whew. Anyways, that was trip number one, and then went back out on Saturday. We're like, okay, so in the world of fishing bass, it's all bedding bass. It's all about timing. The day you go and the time of hour of day. So we go out and I'm thinking, all right, we figured them out last week. Hopefully they're still doing the same thing, and we always go reload on the baits. So I go to like Walmart, pick up 2 bags of horny tims. I go out there, I'm thinking like, all right, I'm gonna do the exact same thing. I'm gonna get out there. I'm just gonna proceed to smash them, right? Yeah, it didn't happen. Yeah, sad. It didn't happen. Got out there. I don't know what happened. All the fish left. All the fish left. I didn't catch a single fish from that lake on Saturday. So we always have like a backup plan, a major backup plan. So it's always we get at the lake, get to the lake by 5. You start fishing as soon as you get on the lake. You got to make a decision by 9 if you want to stay, you want to go. So by 8:30, I was like, man, this place is dead. We gotta go. So we packed up, went to a different lake. And we went there. We met our friend over there. And he goes, man, it's kind of dead too. I was throwing a single the whole day. I only caught 3. I'm like, damn, I didn't want to hear that. So, but I had some hope, right? Some hope. Because this other lake, it's actually a different lake. So it can't be 2 dead lakes in one day, right? So we go over there and it was actually pretty dead. For the first 3 hours, I couldn't catch anything. Because I was fishing too fast. Because you come into a different lake, you're thinking, I gotta go fast, I gotta go fast, I gotta go fast, I gotta go fast. It turns out the slower you go, the better it is, right? So fished real slow. Actually fished really, really slow. Really, really, really slow. Like, I mean, super slow. Slow as I've ever fished. And I don't usually fish that slow, is what I'm trying to say. So I fish real slow and I get bit. I get bit on a jackhammer chatterbait. I threw everything once again. Threw a frog, threw a Texas rig, threw a big worm, threw a Cinco, threw everything. It just didn't want to play out. And I have no idea why, you know? And I'm fishing, I went from like fishing beds to like fishing offshore grass. So I get to the offshore grass, I'm thinking I'm just gonna make them react because it's a bluebird day. There's no way these fish are even hungry. You gotta make them react. They're all Florida strain, and I don't get them to react. The only thing I can do is if I know an area has grass, I can throw out there. I mean, you gotta whip it as hard as you can way out there, and you're just slowly winding it until the chatterbait gets hung up in grass. And you don't even rip it. If you rip it, they're not gonna bite it. You just have to wiggle it, like you have to worm it like through the grass patch, and as you're worming it, they will pick it up. That's what they do. They just pick it up, and then you just hit the hook. So I did that. I did catch a limit. In the very last moment, I started a chatterbait, and I threw it in a pile of grass, and I caught a big one, a 22 and a quarter inch. I didn't weigh it. It's probably an 8-pounder, to be honest. Probably that 8-pound, 9-pound class. It's pretty good. You could see the video on Instagram if you guys want. It's actually this one. I'll show you guys on my phone. Where's the release? Yep, that's the 22. It's an 8-pounder. I still need to upload that. Been pretty busy. But that's bass fishing. The reason why we like bass fishing is it's an ever evolving like Rubik's cube. It's always moving. It's always moving. Yep. I saw that. Numku fishing. I think I saw that. That was pretty crazy. Over 20 pounds again. Pretty crazy. Yeah, so this is also like the best time to go bass fishing and the best time to catch a big personal best too. And the bass are really dumb. I don't know what it is, but this time of year they are at their dumbest they'll be all year. Okay, so if you've never caught a big bass, it's a good time to go do it. They'll be on the banks. They'll be in less than 5 foot of water for the most part. Okay, so that's bass fishing. Bass fishing you can never really guess what they're gonna do. Every day changes by the hour, by the day, by the dang wind conditions, man. The wind changes directions. They do a totally different thing. So that's why I do it. That's why I love it. It keeps the blood boiling for the most part. And like I said, that's the reason why we like bass fishing. Other than that, bass fishing is not that fun, to be honest with you. Because if it wasn't such a big puzzle you have to solve every time, if you just want to think about like eatability of a bass and the adrenaline rush from a bass, it's nothing compared to like a hybrid or a striper. It's not even comparable. It's not even comparable. Okay. Let's see what else we got. Okay. So, any last questions about bass fishing before we go? Any last questions about bass fishing? Because I got one, two, three, four questions on stripers and white bass already. Jay Hunt says, "Can you still get to the wall at Eufaula?" No idea. I haven't been to Eufaula this year. Have you been to PB in a while? You mean have I caught a new personal best? No, I haven't. I don't know what it is, man. Like it's a mentality thing too. Okay, so if you are actually chasing a personal best, you will actually like. I feel like the personal best comes when you least expect it. It really comes when you least expect it. All of my personal bests have come when I'm not like chasing the big fish. Like you're just thinking, we're just gonna go have fun today, and all of a sudden it's just big fish after big fish after big fish, and the really big fish comes by. Okay, that's how my personal best have come. When I set out to catch a 10 pound bass, I end up catching like eights. I just never catch tens. Regardless of what I do, I could throw the biggest swim bait. I could throw all these other things, and I'll end up catching like 5 6 pounders. I never touch that 10. But the two that I can honestly say that were probably tens, even though I didn't weigh them, caught during a tournament, and I was trying to catch 3 pounders and two 10 pounders show up. I don't know. How do you explain that? I have no idea. I caught one in the fall and I caught one in the spring. Just saying. You never know when you're gonna get them. Just be ready. I caught one on like a crankbait on 12 pound line, and I caught another one on a 10-inch worm and 20 pound line. So I was more afraid of the fish that I caught on 20 pound line breaking me off than the fish on the 12 pound line. Just quick stories because now that we're on the personal best stuff. Personal best. There's a mount. I have a fish over there that's mounted. You guys can't. I don't know if you guys can see it, but hey, you guys can see it. There's that little tail over there. Yeah, that guy, that bass. That's my personal best. Largemouth bass. It's 24 1/4 inches, and I never weighed it, but it was during a tournament. I had to release it real fast. So I'm guesstimating, and strong guesstimate, either like right at 10 or just a little bit below 10. That's my best guess. I never had the chance to weigh it. But yeah, that personal best, I caught it on a crankbait in the pre-spawn. A, a deep diving crankbait too. A deep diving crankbait pre-spawn, red color. The other one I caught it on. I was flipping trees in 10 foot of water with a big worm. And I flipped it into this big dead tree, and the worm falls and it never hits the ground. Like it's like for the guys that know what I'm talking about, when you're flipping trees, it's always like the guys that are pretty good at flipping now, right? You know how long, say a half ounce weight on a 10-inch ribbon tail worm, how long it falls until it should hit the bottom, right? I don't know, like 2 seconds, right? You flip it, It's two, one, two. She hit the bottom. This thing is like one, two. It never hits bottom. If it never hits bottom, you know a fish has got it. Reel on it, get all the slack out of it, and just head hard. And that's what I did. This was Lake Fork too, by the way. And before that 24, the biggest fish I ever caught was like a 19 and a half, right? So I set into this thing, and I'm just like, hot damn, what's going on? Like that's not a bass. I was thinking at first that's not a bass. It's too big. And then I see it like come up to jump, and that actually didn't jump. It was so big that only the head, like half his head, could actually do this. And I see it, I'm like, that's a bass, all right. That's a bass. That's a bass. But why is it so yellow? Like it was like, memory says basses are green, but this was all goldish yellow. I've never seen the true Florida also. So I get to the boat and I net it, and I had this little trout net, and I net it, and only half the fish was in the net. And I put on the kayak, and that's when I realized, bro, you have a shot at big bass on Lake Fork, and you just broke your personal best. Okay, so took a bunch of pictures of it, took good care of it. Probably spent too much time actually fishing for it, and then I took a bunch of pictures, make sure the pictures look good, and then just released it on Lake Fork. Easily could have taken it in, easily could have given it to the Lunkers program, all that stuff, but I didn't do it. So those are the personal bests in terms of bass, in terms of everything else, I haven't been really keeping the attention. So in terms of hybrids, my biggest hybrid I would probably have to say is about a 25, because like I said, I don't keep track. I didn't keep track of the hybrids. In terms of stripers, there's a freshwater one, and there's a saltwater one. The saltwater striper is probably that 41, because that was a long time ago. It was probably like 15 years ago. The freshwater one, my freshwater striper's not that big, because when I do striper fishing, I don't go after the big stripers. I just go for fun. So for a lot of the wrong reasons, you can say, you'll never catch a personal best unless it's just a magical day and you're just catching big fish. But my personal best is only like a 37-inch striper. It's not that big, but I've caught a lot. Put it out. I caught a lot of stripers in my times, and will continue to, hopefully. Yep. Okay. Hunting and fishing? Is that what his name? J Hunt and Fish. Was at Keystone through the first and some, but not too many. Yeah, so yeah. Keystone's been giving us a lot of weird feedback. So we have a lot of people giving us not direct feedback, but if you're tied to the people's social media, they always be posting about fish and stuff, or better when they skunk out, things like that, and you kind of get a feel for the how their local area is putting out, and also I follow most of the guides too in the area, so I get a pretty good understanding of which lake is hot, which lake is not. So if you have a guide and he's not on a certain lake, it's probably because that lake is not very good at the moment. If he's like, have a couple guys here that'll guide on, say, Fort Gibson, they'll guide on Keystone, Sooner, Bluegill, Sooner, right? So if they're always on Sooner, then Sooner's hot. You should go to Sooner. If they're always on Keystone, Keystone's hot. If they're always on OOW, OOW's hot. Go to OOW. Oh. Yeah, that's on the sinuses, man. That's something wrong. Yeah, man, David. My PB. I mean, if I'm gonna break a PB, right? Let's just talk about it this way. How would you like to break your PB? Like if you could pick how you could break your PB, how would you? Like if you could predict the future, or if you can steer the future into, like painting the perfect scenario, right? If it was a bass, okay, so let me get you the bass story. I have seen big bass with my own eyes. I've seen big bass on beds that I could not catch. and they're bigger than 10 pounds. They ain't no joke. They are bigger than 10 pounds, and I can't catch them. They're like super smart, super shy or something. And when you walk up, when you come up to their bed, they leave. They don't stick around. And you could try to back off and see if they come back. They don't. And you can sit there all day. They won't come back until you leave, and then they come back. So those fish, super super shy, super shy. The biggest fish, I feel like they're the shyest fish. They don't want to be around anybody. So it's one of them deals. When it comes to stripers, man, I just want to catch a freaking striper on a top water. Like I hope I catch like a 43 inch on top water. That's all. That's all I gotta say about that. Because a striper especially a big striper on top water, is just it's like the whole like if you had a list of like what a fish fight needs to be like, it checks off all the boxes. Hit the top water. It's a big fish, big explosions, big runs, multiple runs. You fight them for like 10 minutes. They come in, they're still fighting. You get, assuming you harvest it, right? Assuming you do, you get a lot of meat. You get all this other stuff, right? And if you don't harvest it, you decide to let it go. It's still hot. Damn, look at this picture. Looks freaking awesome. Let it go, and get a duplicate. Duplicate. That's cool too. In terms of white bass, probably my biggest white bass ever is probably only about 16 and a half inches. 16 and a half. Which is, pretty respectable. Pretty respectable. Um, I don't know. Something's wrong with my camera. It keeps on like zooming in and out. I don't know what the deal is. But mm, Keystone is easy if you know how to avoid the rocks and dead lines. Yeah. So Keystone, for the guys that are brand new to it, I would have to say don't do the whole floater bobber thing with the fluke, and just give it only like 2.5 feet, and that's it. You'll never get hung up. If you're gonna throw a jig head out there, it is it's really bad. Put it that way, it's real bad. You're gonna get hung up every other cast, pretty much. Especially now, when there's a lot of people out there. There's literally a spider web of fishing line under the water, so you just don't want to even touch that. As soon as you touch that, it's pretty much done. Like that bait's done for the day. You know, so you don't want that. Try to avoid that at all costs. Uh, so that's Keystone. Or you go out on a boat. Keystone on a boat's pretty fun too. You come out there and it's just you can throw A rigs. You can do pretty much whatever you want. There should be okay. So I haven't been to Keystone in about a month. So the run should already be starting. The run should probably be pretty good. But guess what? After this week is gonna be fire everywhere. So like I've been preaching to everybody on the internet. Uh, it's usually after the third major rainstorm. So third major rainstorm is coming this week, which means this weekend. I would like to say the majority of the dams should be releasing, like full time releasing, which means for a striper white bass, it's time to head up river. When they head up river, they get stuck in the dams. It's the easiest way to catch them is at the dams. And if you have a boat, you can also do this on the lakeside, but you just go up the creeks. So if you pick a creek that's flowing water, you go up the creeks. They should be pretty stacked up there too. So keep that in mind for all the guys that are going out. I know I'm going out. I've missed the white bass and hybrid spawns the last 5 years because I've been bass fishing too much. So guess what we're doing this year? We're going striper fishing. Might be out there tomorrow, man. I'm thinking about going to Keystone tomorrow. So if you guys are there at Keystone tomorrow, you might see me. I haven't made up my mind yet, depending on how the tornadoes are tonight, because supposedly we're supposed to get a bunch of wacky weather right now. Just checking it. I don't know if we are. Well, the boys in Wichita is about to get hit right now. There's a major front coming over there. I think we just dodged the bullet, so it should be all right. So maybe for sure, like 70% now. We're gonna go to Keystone tomorrow. Uh, yeah, so Keystone, when you get advanced, if you become more of an advanced angler, you start seeing eddies or swirls in the water. For the guys that don't know, and what that does is when you cast out there with the right weights, line sizes, and everything, you can have your baits. I'm not very good at this, but hybrid killers, you can have your baits basically drift and it hangs up in the current. Drift and hangs up in the current. So when it hangs up in the current is when you usually get bites. That's an advanced technique, and I don't really talk about it too much because it feels like only one of 100 guys out there can do this. So I don't talk about it too much. For the most part, most of the guys that'll like say really enjoy it because they're not losing tackle all the time is the guys that are throwing the floaters with a bucktail or the floaters with a fluke on the back. Those guys are usually the ones that are they don't catch as much. Don't get me wrong, they don't catch as much. They don't catch as many big ones, but at the same time, they're not losing 20, 40, $50 worth of baits. Okay, so that's that. Let's see. Are you still setting up for the 30 club? I mean, that's one thing we talked about doing it one time, but we never did. Was I don't know if there's enough interest for us to do that. You know, a sticker that says basically it's a striper sticker that says 30 club right on it because you call it 30. You follow was easy, but I haven't been there in a while. You follow last year was kind of hit and miss too, so they come in waves. I've been noticing a lot of fish coming in waves the past couple years. It's never like it's just jam packed. It's all waves. How's the water level down there this year? Hey, B from Nebraska, right? Let me know if I'm right or wrong. The water level is this year, I would say, below average to average. Nothing's flooding, which is a good thing. Usually the flood years are the good years. We had a flood year 2 years ago, major floods. So there should have been a great spawn that year. And usually with great spawns, 2 years later it means you'll catch a bunch of there's a bunch of white bass that are in that say 13 to 15 inch range. There should just be a bunch of them. And I think that's what's gonna happen today. A bunch of good eating size white bass. DS Moto, when does the striper spawn start? It started right now. Starting right now. It's already started. Okay, the early start is already started. Uh, it's just we're probably right in the middle of the spawn right now, and it's starting. I would say starting to tail off. I would say starting to tail off, but right now it should be really hot because the some of the stripers, the early waves, they've already been up there. They're already up there already. It's just they don't come in the massive numbers. The massive numbers usually get there like this weekend and the following week because of the conditions that are happening. So, like I was telling people, it's the third major rainstorm. The third major rainstorm. The reason why I keep saying that is the third major rainstorms, based on what I know, it will get the lakes up to a high enough pool where they will have to release water. So after the third major rainstorm, they release water. The fourth major rainstorm, they have to release more water, and it just feeds the fire. It feeds the fire of hybrid fishing, striper fishing. So it just continues to go like that. So that's why I ask. That's why I always say after the third major rainstorm is when the spawn truly happens. Before that, it's very hit and miss. And from say the storm happened today, right? 2 days from now, for the next week and a half, it's gonna be fire anywhere you go, anywhere. Everybody's catching them. Just mark my words. Like if you jump on Facebook next week, everybody's got pictures of fish. Just everybody's got pictures of fish. Oh, what's going on? Something wrong with the camera. I gotta figure that out too. Been pretty busy, man. working on YouTube, and if the guys that missed it that are just signing on, we're starting a lure business. So definitely a lure business. Doing all types of stuff. Like I mentioned, we're doing the clear rig. Let me show you guys the clear rig before I forget. All right, guys, this is the clear rig that's on sale tonight. 15% off for all subscribers. The guys that don't know, it is basically an umbrella rig, or it is an umbrella rig. Some people call it the Alabama rig, but it's not an Alabama rig. If you look at the definition of an Alabama rig, it does not fall into this category. This falls into the category of an umbrella rig. And it's clear. As you can see, it's really clear. And the way this one is rigged for white bass. You will see this in the next coming videos for sure, okay? But I've been testing, just cheap lures, right? Because a lot of guys, when you go for white bass, they don't mind paying more for the umbrella rig because the umbrella rig is just cool. But the little cheap baits, these are the little cream lures. You guys can see that little cream lures. It's like, I think it's like 2 for $1.50. So I bought some and stuck them on there. This one doesn't swim that good. I know the white one swims pretty alright, but the clear one doesn't swim very good. You guys know what I'm talking about when you guys see it. But this one's alright. This one swims decent. This is basically a copy of the Storm and the Berkeley baits. This one's decent. But my uncle was throwing something like this in low water, and it's fire. For the guys that know what I'm talking about, the low water dam on at Hudson, the Hudson Dam low water dam, put it that way. Fire. This time of year, fire. Fire. So like that's the standard size, and that's the bladed standard size. We sell them for $45 a piece, additional $7 for shipping. But tonight, special. If you guys are watching this, you guys want one, $45, knock off 15%. Let me see how much that is. So 45, be like $38.25. So for $38.25, you'll get one. We got a little special for you tonight, just because I feel sorry for everybody. I haven't been doing my job. Been pretty busy setting up things, a lot of things in the background. So you guys will appreciate once everything comes out and everything runs a lot smoother. Okay. Yeah, B, that's us on YouTube Shorts. That's us. I've got like a whole bunch of them right now. So, yeah, if you guys don't follow us on Instagram, go ahead and follow us on Instagram, because all I got right now is all like YouTube short stuff. I mean, Instagram Reels, they call it. I didn't even know they're working. Instagram Reels. So, check this out. Yeah. I don't know why it's lagging so bad, but yeah, I got a bunch of those in here, so I like this one a lot.
People think I'm obsessed with this. I'm okay with it.
Why it's lagging so bad? That's bad. That's real bad. The internet's lagging. Let me swap over my Wi-Fi's. Maybe it'll stream better on this one.
I'm okay with it.
Okay, so we got.
This working for a living is some hoe shit. I'm about one early morning and one bad day away from selling fucking pictures of my feet on the goddamn internet. Done with this shit. This working for a living is some hoe shit. I'm about one early morning and one bad day away from selling fucking pictures of my feet on the goddamn internet.
Yeah, that's what you get. You get a lot of humor with this. So there's a bunch of that. If you guys want to see that, Instagram. Upload a lot now. It's like 3 times a day almost. Let's see. Want to try paddlefish for Gibson? Yeah, the paddlefish this year should be pretty good too, from what the random reports I've been seeing from the guides that do it. Uh, I've never really done paddlefish. I've caught them by accident, but they're pretty good. They're pretty. They're not good eating, but they're good fighters. Okay. MJ says, "Do you notice that early in the season the stripers and hybrids eat threadfins, but by the tail end of the spawn, all of a sudden they switch to bluegills? What like won't even look at a threadfin?" Okay, so I think there's a couple reasons for that. It's kind of my theory, but uh, we do notice that a little bit too. And it is basically, in my opinion, it is because they haven't stopped eating it. It is easier for them to catch a bluegill than it is to catch a threadfin, if you know what I'm talking about. So, if you picture this, right? So the bluegills, now hybrids and white bass spawn first, right? So when they're done spawning, another species goes to spawn. So your threadfins and your bluegills, they go to spawn, right? But the bluegills never really show up ever until later in the year. And also, they've been caught a couple times, the white baits, because everybody throws white at the beginning of the season, it feels like. So, white gets played out. White chartreuse gets played out, right? So, if you know that they're biting bluegills, then you need to pack bluegill colors or a legit bluegill, one or two, and then it'll continue to go. We've seen that many, many times. Where Keystone is a prime example of this. It happens every year. Early in the year, early in the year, like February, March, everybody throws a white fluke or a white chartreuse tail fluke, right? Some guys live and die by it, basically. And you can see their numbers kind of diminish as the season goes, right? But then there's the guys that show up like mid-season and they're throwing a pink fluke, or they're throwing a green pumpkin fluke, or they're throwing a black or brown fluke, and they are continuing to bite. You're like, I don't know what's going on, but I don't care. Give me a pink fluke, and you throw a pink fluke and it works. I think that's because the fish have been conditioned to seeing white. Maybe they've seen it enough, they don't want to touch it. It's just if they know it's not the exact thing, the real threadfin, then they just don't want to touch it. It's angling pressure too. You can figure out a fish that lives in the bottom of the dam. It probably sees 100 lures every day, I would imagine. So you just gotta change it up, do something different, do something different. So that's why sometimes when I go to the dams, I don't even pack flukes. Well, I pack them. I don't even start with a fluke. I'll throw something different, like I'll throw a rattle trap, or I'll throw, start throw a top water when you're not supposed to throw a top water can be a very rewarding too, because if you're the first one to get on a top water bite, no one else is thinking top water yet, and you're just straight up killing it on top water. Okay, so just do something different. But I do notice stuff like that. I do notice stuff like that because I do it. All my friends talk about it. They're saying there's a moment in time where you can see the white bass and the hybrid stripers blitzing everywhere, but they won't bite anything. And that's usually because the bait's like this big. They're focused on size. So now you have to go, if you want to catch a fish that day, you have to throw a spoon that's that size. And we've actually got a video out from last year when I took my parents out fishing. And that's exactly what it was. Like we preach the gay blade. It's so small. It's like 2 inches, and even that they didn't want. Like a small 2 inch bait, they didn't want. They wanted something that was 1 inch. And I had to break out my little like Acme little CeeLo. Like what I'm talking about, the little spoon, like a little spoon for like crappies and stuff. Man, every cast, every cast, every cast. But gay blade skunked out, T10 skunked out, anything skunked out. But you throw that little like spoon in there and just slowly wind it. Oh, every cast, every cast. It was crazy, crazy, crazy. Do you think low water dam near the gathering place in Arkansas is messing the striper fishing? We were the fish, like where the fish are. Nah, I don't think so. The gathering place doesn't do anything to the striper fishing. It really doesn't do anything. if you really pay attention to the Arkansas River that flows through Tulsa, I mean, that river is so low, there's nothing there to really like wonder about. Okay. The reason why I say it like that is because if you look, okay, jump on Google Maps and just look at the river. Like, look at the river when the river is low. There is no water on that river. There's a couple puddles, and that sounds like it's about it. And once you get above the zinc dam, there's a decent pool, but it only goes, I don't know, like 2-3 miles, and then it's just dried up again all the way to the dam. And even at the dam, like that area at the dam, it is still not enough to like grow great populations of stripers. I just don't feel like it is. I fished it enough to really say that one, it is somewhat overfished. Two, it just doesn't have the key ingredients to grow a great population of stripers. We fish it all the time, but we never catch anything that's massive, like anything that's over 40 inches. Like that's super rare, like super super rare to catch on a keystone. They caught plenty of 36s, 37s, but 37 is like a really good striper from the keystone, like tailwaters, real good. Whereas other tailwaters, it ain't. It's good. It's just like above average fish. I feel like I would say above average, but above average. It's not great, but it's still like above average to great. Right. What I'm talking about is like the Red River in Texoma. That tail river, I feel like it's better than Keystone. Eufaula for sure is better than Keystone. The Lower Illinois which is a really small river. You have to have a boat. You have to have boat access basically. Better than Keystone. Weber Falls for sure better than Keystone. Fort Gibson for sure better than Keystone. So we just fish Keystone a lot because it's really easy to access. It's close to us and things like that. But in terms of if you want to rank the dams, if you want to truly rank the dams, like on average, Keystone is not the best dam to fish. Being honest. But at the peaks, Keystone is pretty easy because it is it's Keystone is like that dam that's right in the middle, because you could literally go to both sides and you can catch fish from both sides. Some dams, like plus Keystone has a lot of options on the bank. So if you're not catching them at the dam, you can walk down a little bit and fish down here. You can swap sides, you can fish by the boat ramp and things like that. And a lot of it is public property. Okay, so you could actually just walk down the bank. And a lot of fishing areas. Other dams, you're confined to one little area, like 100-yard stretch, and that's it. Kind of Eufaula kind of falls into that category for me. Everybody kind of wants to just fish the dam. Like no one really, there's no other like real true area to fish in the back. Fort Gibson is pretty nice setup, you can say, but it's a pain in the ass to pull fish up the wall. I did it like twice, and I was like, I'm pretty much done. But from what I understand, the tailwaters of Fort Gibson is really good. So even when there's no water running, if you have a boat, like a small John boat or something, you can go towards the back where like it mixes with the other three rivers, and it's really good fishery. Okay, so I'm saying I include that in Fort Gibson, and it's like it's got a lot of good options on that end. What about the lake hybrids at Pumpback? Do they act differently compared to river and running fish? Yeah, they do. The pumpback fish, if you are lucky enough to fish that lake, those fish are really dumb. Nobody fishes for them. And end of this month into May, by far best time to be on pumpback because all those hybrids are chasing shad and it's the shad spawn. And I'll tell you what, man, some of the best topwater blitzes I've ever seen was on pumpback. And during a tournament too, which means I can't go and catch them. I need to catch bass. But I'll sneak in one or two. I'll sneak in one or two during the tournament because I like the stripers and stuff. So I'll sneak in one or two. But yeah, you get out there, get to the back of those pockets, and they're chasing shad. It's just like like 50, 60 deep. And it's not even funny because you keep on thinking that's bass, so you go over and you throw a top bar on it, and next thing you know, it's a hybrid. It's a hybrid. And if you have good electronics, you go by, you can see them on side imaging. Well, now I have the Mega, so the Mega Live, so you can actually see them. And like I'm saying, it's ridiculous how many hybrids are out there. Hybrids of white bass, it's a good fishery. Um, they get kind of hard to catch during the summertime because they kind of go deep. You need good electronics. In the wintertime, they kind of go deep again, so you need good electronics. But during the spawn, during the fall, they blitz the shads. It's crazy. It's like one of the best. It's one of the best lakes to be on. You're just strictly talking lakes. But the thing is, it's a lot of it's off access to a lot of people because it is it's an electric lake, meaning you can't have a traditional boat on it. You can have kayaks, you can have anything that's not like gasoline powered, or they call it internal combustion. So anything that's not diesel, anything that's not gas. So you can have electric trolling motors and things like that. That's why you get to that lake and you won't see these bass boats, like 18, 19-foot bass boats with like two trolling motors in the back and a giant trolling motor in the front. Yep. Yeah. So back to the bluegill thing, right? So if the bluegill is one of those things where not just the hybrids but the bass do it too. So in the world of bass fishing, it's very similar, right? You have the bass spawn, and then you have like a shad spawn, and then you have the bluegill spawn. It kind of goes in that order, kind of. But when you get to the bluegill spawn, right? By that time, majority of the bass are done. They're already off, and the ones that have come into spawn, they've already left, right? And now they're in the deep waters. You're supposed to catch them deep. But there's a couple of those big giant bass stay behind to eat bluegills, and they won't eat nothing but a bluegill. So in those months, especially in the lakes that have a little bit of grass, I love throwing a frog that looks like a bluegill. I made money off of it. Okay, and it's the best bite. Also, you throw in a frog, you smash them. It's just good fishing, frog fishing. That's how I won a couple times. Uh, have you ever fished Disney? I've never fished Disney. I've driven by it. I've seen it. I know what they're talking about, but I've never fished it. Yep. Oh, yeah. The John boat. John boat might be decked out. Well, it's kind of decked out right now already, but I'm thinking about building a battery pack for it. And if I do build a battery pack for it, then I'll probably put a really, 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 really big trolling motor on it. I might go out there. Let's see. All right, hour 8 minutes in. We got 20 minutes, so I think I covered everything except for the mushrooms. So the guys that don't know, oh my gosh, how do you guys not know this? The morale mushrooms. Let me know if you guys know what I'm talking about when I say the morale mushrooms. Or morale? Mira? Let me show you a picture. Let me show you a picture. These guys. See those guys? Morale mushrooms. The best. If you have not had any, you need to have some because they go for $40 a pound and you can only really get them in the woods. I said it. You have to go hunt mushrooms. It's really good. It's really, really good. I went out there and I found some, and my dad loved it so much he wanted me to take him back out, and we did, and he found how much. That's pretty good. Damn, you running 7 batteries, huh? That is crazy. Yeah, I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about building a lithium battery, like a 36-volt lithium battery. That's probably going to be like this big, like that tall. Somehow put it in the back of the John boat and run a 36-volt out back and a 36-volt trolling motor in the front. Uh, it's fun though. In the wintertime, a lot of the guys go out in the wintertime and they do the whole live scope thing. It's pretty fun on that lake. A lot of people do it actually. It's probably the best time to do it too. If you're gonna do the live scope, do it on pump back. Oh, it's fun. Like I just keep every time I go out there, there's this old guy. We always talk to him. I keep forgetting his name, but I always talk to him. He's always like, "Yeah, yeah, she came out here yesterday, man. Killed it." I was like, "Man, no wonder he killed it. He killed it. That's why it's not on a bite today." And we're just trying to catch whatever out there. But Pumpback is one of our favorite lakes. If you guys didn't know. The only thing that's great about Pumpback is every time you go there, it's a different lake. The only thing that sucks about Pumpback is every time you go there, it's a different lake. So you think you figured them out the night before, you go in the next day, it's completely different. I was there when the lake. I was there in December. You can watch our YouTube videos about that too. I was out there in December, and the lake was down like 30 feet. I could see everything on the banks, and that lake has almost nothing in it. There's a lot of like man-made like structure, like pallets and brush piles and trees that are like strapped to cinder blocks. There's a bunch of that, but other than that, there's like almost nothing on that lake. It's like horrible how bad it is. All right. Oh, trout for striper and 10 killer. I did do that. I tried to do that. It's actually one of the videos that's coming out. I tried. I could. I set the hook on something, and I never got a hook in it, and it kind of ran off, and my trout died. But yeah, trout fishing on 10 killer is pretty fun. It's just that 10 killer has been running water right now. They've been running a lot. Okay, here's the other thing. Stripers on 10 killer, white bass on 10 killer should be freaking fire right now. Like lower or upper, it doesn't matter. It should be fire right now. Because when they run a lot of water like that, all the stripers on the Arkansas River will want to go up the river. And when they do, they'll get stuck on all these little ponds basically. And it's gonna be a wrecking day, wrecking ball type of day. I went out there. Me and my brother went out there trying to catch trout so we can bait them for stripers. Kind of a local secret around here. All the locals know about it. All the outside guys don't know anything about it. Okay, so basically went out there and we tried to catch trout, and we didn't catch trout the traditional way you expected to catch trout. I went out there trying to, I brought uh, the rooster tails, and I brought the power baits, right? Got out there, but I still have all my bass stuff rigged up. So there's some trees and started flipping these trees, and the trout bit my bass jig. And I set the hook, I kept missing them, and then my brother, a hybrid killer, he throws a Ned rig at him, and he catches a trout on a Ned rig. And then I'm like, well, if they'll buy a Ned rig, they'll buy a crappie jig, a big crappie jig, right? So I start slinging this it's all black crappie jig. Because my brother's Ned rig was brown, so I threw a black. And started biting that real good, and we catch a limit doing that. And it was the craziest trout fishing day I've ever had, Craziest day by far. And yeah, trout fishing. Weird, but yeah, trout fishing. Crazy trout fishing day. And then boat flipping trout. You usually don't see that. And then we took the trout, started fishing them for striper, and like I said, I got one bite. Couldn't capitalize, I guess. And that was it. That was all she wrote. All right, coming up on the last 15 minutes. So it's basically open-ended right now. So whatever you guys want to talk about, techniques, hooks, reviews, whatever, man. Just let it rip, and I'll answer it. Let me know. There's still like 10 guys online, so thanks for coming back too, because it was pretty fairly short notice. I mean, I didn't even post anything until like 6, so let's see. Oops. All right. Right. So no questions, huh? Yeah, you guys are great listeners tonight. All right. So if you're not gonna do anything, then I'm just gonna. I don't know what I'm gonna do. We talk A-rigs, you know. So people are just wondering how we built this, right? So how we built this is we needed something a little bit different, and we built one. That's why. So let me know if you guys want one. Like I said, if you guys want one, just mention the online, and then we'll get you. We'll hook you up, 15% off. Did anyone go to the MLF Expo? I did not because I was busy doing something that whole weekend. I forgot what it was, but oh yeah, I was building a jack plate for my boat. That's what it was. Yeah. So if you guys want a DIY jack plate, you guys want to know how to build one for like a 20 horsepower or less, that DIY is pretty good. I have it on my 9.9 right now, and it's pretty legit. So the jack plate, it's automatic jack plate too, which is pretty cheap for like. So if you spend like 250, you get an automatic jack plate. That's unheard of in the DIY world. I'm just letting the information out. MLF Expo, man, I watched it. I was fixing my boat and I watched the last 15 minutes live. Woo, Bob and Lane, that was crazy, man. If you guys didn't know, if you guys don't know the MLF format, right? MLF format is bass fishing, and you catch a fish, you wait, and then you got to release it, right? So it comes down to like the last, I think it was like 5 minutes, right? Right, David? I don't know if David's listening, but uh, it was down to the wire. Oh, it's down to the wire who was going to win, and the guy's been leading the whole time, who has fallen off, and then blah, 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 blah. This guy catches one, and he's like, this thing is 2 pounds, right? And the judge is like, well, here's the weigher. Hang it on the weigher. He hangs it, and it's 1 pound, 15 ounces. And he's just like, oh, hell no. This guy is going to weigh 2 pounds, right? So he's like, I have to reweigh it. The rules are like both the judge or the ref and the angler must agree on the weight of the fish. If they don't agree, you have up to 3 ways to weigh this fish, right? So he weighs it. You can see the camera guys like behind the scale too. So you can see the scale go 2 pounds and 1 pound 15 ounces, and then settles at 115. So the guy calls out 115 and he's holding it like this, right? So he goes 115. He goes, no man, we gotta do that again. So they put the fish back on it, right? And once again, the scale just goes 115. He's like, nope, we gotta do that again. And so it's his last try, right? He puts it on there, and the thing says 2 pounds 0 ounces, and he just barely gets in ahead of first place. And basically, with I think it was like 3 minutes left, nobody else caught a fish that was bigger than his total, so he ends up winning. Freaking Bobby Lane wins it, flipping like shallow wood. And there's a whole bunch of like live active target type stuff running around, but active target got beat by the good old jig flipping trees, so in the pre-spawn, like, yeah, it was pre-spawn. It was all Grand Lake too, so that was pretty cool. I should have went, but I didn't go. What is your go-to striper lure in dirty water, stream and calm? Chatterbait. Easy one. Chatterbait and umbrella rig. Those two. Because if it's dirty, you need vibration. You need a vibration. I know stripers are typically like sight feeders, but if it's dirty water, they can't see very good. So then they rely on vibrations. I've proved it so many times myself. Vibrations the deal. So you need some type of vibration, whether it's an underspin with a little blade going, or it's a jackhammer chatterbait. It's just like the whole time. Yeah, man. Bobby Lane won it, but Wheeler was leading it, and then Bobby Lane beat Wheeler, and then Wheeler couldn't get another fish, so Wheeler ended up settling for third. Because Luke Clausen also caught a 4-pounder in the last minute too. So it was Wheeler, Connell, Bobby Lane, and Clausen was like in 6th or 7th place. I can't remember. But the last like 2-3 minutes, how that whole fiasco happened, the whole flip of the script and everything. Bobby Lane caught one, so he jumps above. Like he just straight up jumps above Cornell and Wheeler, and then everybody was already thinking Wheeler was gonna win, right? And then Clausen catches one like I guess it was like a 4.5, so he jumps above both of those guys, and none of these guys know exactly what's going on because you know the ref doesn't blurb out positions every second, so they don't know. So Wheeler's thinking he got it, and then Cardell thinks Wheeler's got it, and then Bobby Lane knows he's got it because when he caught that fish, they literally told him you're now in the lead. And then Clausen thought he possibly got it because he caught a 4-pounder. Just it was oh my gosh, it was good TV. That's all I gotta say. In terms of fishing entertainment at the championship level too, the way that tournament was fished, the way that tournament finished, it was like, man, it was tugging on your emotional strings the whole time. Like, if you had sadness, sorrow, excitement, and pissed off, and they were all strings, so they were all strings like that, right? The strings of a guitar, well, they were playing like that. Okay, so yeah, they were tugging on your emotional strings the whole time. Wheeler got Angler of the Year last year. This is a new year, so he's still doing pretty good too, I think. But I think he got Angler of the Year last year. The year before that, it was Jordan Lee, and the year before that, it was Edwin Evers. Edwin's kind of my neighbor in Talala. His house is like 2 miles to the west of my property. Yeah, Wheeler's gonna win one of these sooner or later. He's won like just about everything out there. So Wheeler's won Forest Wood Cup. He's won Angler of the Year on the FLW side. He's won an Elite Series or 2 Elite Series. He hasn't won an AOI. He's been pretty close. On the MLF side, he's won the Angler of the Year. He hasn't won the Red Crest, but that was a pretty close match too. Yeah, Wheeler's kind of weird. I mean, don't hate him because he does the thing he does, but like I feel like if Wheeler learns, well, I say that, but like I feel like the tournaments that he loses are the ones when he's running around too much. Like you're saying, he was running around, kept running around. Should have just stayed in one spot and just milked it for what he could, you know. Because he was doing pretty good until the last like 15 minutes. He couldn't catch another like 2-pounder or something to seal the deal. Because if he did, then he would have won. But it was a good event. And for Grand Lake, it was a really good event. I feel like for Grand Lake and for Tulsa, it was a good event. I didn't go to the actual like event, so I don't know how many people showed up, but people said it was fun, And it won't be long until it comes back to Grand. So I was actually the reason why I didn't go. Well, another reason was because my big boat's down. It's in the shop, and I really wanted to take the big boat out and follow these guys around. I really wanted. That was the plan, but plan didn't fall through. So that is pretty much about it. Coming up in the last 5 minutes. So MLF or Bass? I'm thinking MLF. I'm thinking MLF's here to stay. I like the format. I like the fact that it's not just 5 fish. Because watching people fish for 5 fish is pretty boring. The guys that usually win are the most boringest ones to watch. Because they'll go for hours and not catch a bite. And then they'll catch like 2 in a row and that's it. They win, It's like it's great for the sport. It's not great for the viewership. Or in MLF, you're gonna have the guys that actually skunk out for the day, right? But then you have the guys that are just like, oh, 2-pounder, 3-pounder, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 3-pounders, 2.5, 3-pounder. And then it's like, well, you got 40 pounds. Let's see. Yep. I think we're sidetracked from the sandies. Oh yeah, the sand bass. Oh yeah, sand bass. Sand bass has been like my favorite fish to fish for when I just want to have fun. So sand bass are easy, man. You ain't gotta spend too much money on it. You know, they're not supposed to be, but they are the easiest fish to catch because when they're running, anybody can catch them on. Anybody can catch them on anything. Okay, and I'm not even like joking. Like I've seen people. There's more people throwing like plastic bags as lures and they catch them. You know, so okay. Yamaha giving you trouble again? The Yamaha's doing alright. Ever since it gave us that one issue, uh, I think I know what it is. I think it's when I changed the oil filters, all the fuel filters out on them. Maybe I didn't turn them on tight enough, and there's a lot of air pockets, and the system had to just burp itself out. Because for a while there, it was really bad. Like you couldn't even go over 20 miles per hour, and it would just fall flat on its face. But after having it out a couple times where we'd never ran it hard, we just kind of let it idle for like 3 or 4 trips, and we decided to run it hard one time again, and it was just like perfect. And ever since that time, it was perfect. So it's been perfect for about 5 months before we took it in. But you know when you see those problems, you have to take it in. So Yamaha has the official written proof that this engine had issues. So even though the warranty is only 3 months or 3 years, if it goes into year 4, year 5, and the engine blows up for whatever reason, and you are like, well, shit, I already had engine problems, so it's related. You need to give me a new engine because it's a defect, you know. So that's why you want to take it in because at least you have an argument for the engine being an issue if it is. But it wasn't like mechanical problems. It was just like the first one was just like a zip tie, which is kind of dumb. The zip tie and the fuel line popped off, so you put another zip line on it, a zip tie on it. It's kind of stupid. I don't know why, but engines, fuel lines, and coolant lines are held on with zip ties. Crazy, right? Jig had a question. Does the color matter? Um, Sometimes. 9 out of 10 times it doesn't matter. 9 out of 10 times. Uh, I'm just a big. There's really two colors I like, right? I either throw a pink head or I just throw the non-color, like the standard gray head. I don't know. I grew up with a red head, so I just always throw red. But if you really think about it, in the Oklahoma muddy water, you have to understand color a little bit too. Uh, in terms of color, like when you're holding the colors in air, it's actually red, but red is the first color to disappear underwater. So if you throw a red and you throw it into muddy water, a foot down, it's already turned brown. All the colors turn like a real dark brown when there's no more light reflected off of it. And red doesn't reflect very well underwater. The brightest color underwater is green. So if you're gonna do anything, throw green. That's why green's a very popular color in Oklahoma. Chartreuse is probably the best color in Oklahoma during the spring. Have you guys hit pumpback in a while? I haven't been to pumpback in like 2 months, 2.5 months. I haven't. Last time I was there, I threw an A rig and something big took my A rig, and I don't know if I told this story or not, but on pumpback, when we fish pumpback during the winter times, we're not really casting at the bank. We're going over 90 feet of water, and we're just strictly like dropping baits on fish anywhere 30 to 90 feet. 30 to 90 feet. And if we catch like a white bass or a hybrid from 90, we keep them. We usually don't release them. So the guys that are like, you're killing them. I'm like, well, yeah, you're supposed to. Kill them anyways, regardless. So if we catch white bass and hybrids from 90, we like keep them. And I had one. I mean, there was a bait ball down like I swear it was like 95 foot deep. There was a bait ball down to 80. The bait ball was so big, my fish finder couldn't shoot through it. That's how big this bait ball was. And I dropped it. I dropped my umbrella rig. I dropped it like 75 foot down. I got hit by something that was so big, it pulled drag at 90 feet down and it broke off my 20-pound fluorocarbon. Until this day, I still wonder what it is. I have no idea. But there's a lot of big fish in that lake. That's all I gotta say. So I don't know. All right. So the white bass, and hybrids and stripers, they do not live in the rivers. I mean, there's like a 1% chance they might stay around or stick around, but for the most part, they run up the rivers, they do their spawn, then they run back. They're out in Main Lake again. So, um, if you catch a white bass in the river, for some reason that white bass has gone crazy, not supposed to be there. Because we've caught them before up rivers, but they're not supposed to be there. In the little rivers, the streams, once it goes beyond the spawn, you're only gonna catch bass. That's the only thing that really lives up there. Um, Stripers, white bass, they're all Main Lake. Main Lake, maybe where the creek opens up to the lake, they'll be around that area, but they're not gonna be up the creek. How do you guys bleed your hybrids? The easiest way to do it is take a knife and just cut one of the gill plates, the gills, right? Just cut the gills and just throw them back in your live well and they'll just bleed out. They'll bleed out in like a minute. Once you cut the gills, there's no way that fish can survive. So a lot of people cut them. That's the easiest way. A lot of people will cut the tail, like right at the tail, the tail where it goes and starts opening back up. If you just slice right across that, there's a couple of major veins right there. If you hit one of those major veins, it just starts gushing blood, and that fish is KO'd in like probably 30 seconds. But I've never done it that way. I just do the gill thing. Well, all right, guys, it's hour 30. I got a couple other things I gotta go take care of. So it's nice hanging out with everybody. Nice to see everybody come by, and see if we are free on Thursday. We might do another one on Thursday. If not, then we'll probably go back to next week. Does it reduce the red meat when you bleed them? It doesn't reduce the red meat, but it reduces the smell, the wild game like red meat smell. So that's why you do it. The red meat is always going to be there. It's just when you don't bleed them, it's the red meat plus the wild game smell. So if you bleed them, the wild game smell kind of goes away, and your fish starts tasting like tilapia from like the store. So as long as you still, if you do fillet and then cut the red meat out, then you're good. Like it'll taste real good. Especially you're gonna do like any type of like a dish where it's just like it's just mainly a fish or a meat dish. Like for example, like if you're gonna do the la, or you're gonna do like a grilled fish where the fish is the main thing, it's really important to actually bleed them out. It's really important to bleed them out. I feel like it's really important to bleed them out. So all right, guys, I'll see you next week. Let me know. You can always email us or go to Facebook and send some comments that way, and we'll do our best to answer. All right, see ya, everybody.